Welcome back to another episode of Uncomfortable Conversations. This episode, we have our very first guest, y'all. Guess who it is? Guess who it is, y'all? It's me. Today, we're gonna take a deep dive into who Jay Barnes is, where I'm going, where I have been, my past, my present, and future, y'all. Let's get it.
Okay, so it says you have 5,000 friends on social media.
Yes.
Why? How?
How? I don't know. So over time, I just started gathering friends. So for the longest, I was the type of guy that I only wanted to be Facebook friends with people who I knew, right? And then after a while, with all of your content creators, and all type of stuff like that, I said maybe I needed to broaden my horizons. It's cool for your friends to support you, but it's really cool when strangers support you as well. And also dealing with my two businesses. Um, I need more followers. I need more people to support those businesses. So that's why I grew my followers.
What are those two businesses?
The very first business I started is called Dr. Electrical. We deal with residential and commercial electrical jobs.
Okay.
The second business I started was actually 6 months before the pandemic, which is called Dr. Good Energy. And that is my CMOS business.
Okay. Okay. All right, so before we go any further, let's take it back to the beginning, like as far back as you can remember, maybe elementary school or something like that. How were you as a child?
Ooh, how was I as a child? I was soft. I was super soft. I was an emotional roller coaster. I cried if I didn't get McDonald's. That's how horrible it was. I threw tantrums if I didn't get what I wanted. So elementary was cool. Uh, Decent kid, good household. It was decent.
Saying that you developed a stuttering problem. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so in elementary school, I can't remember which grade, but my cousin came over and he had a stuttering problem. And he stuttered horribly in front of me. Before he came over, I did not stutter. After he left, I stuttered. It was horrible.
So how long did this go on? This stuttering problem?
Stuttering, I still stutter to this day. So I get caught up on words. Like anything that begins with the I can get stuck.
So do you still see this cousin from time to time?
No, he passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay.
Shit happens.
Yeah. Okay, so you had the stuttering problem.
Yeah.
And then I guess you eventually overcame it, right?
I did.
You know.
Speech class.
Okay.
Speech class. I had speech class in elementary school, and they helped me out a lot.
So what would they do in speech class? What was the lessons like?
It was certain things where they will let you hear your own voice. They will put certain type of headphones on your ear, and you could hear how you really sound. Just different exercises to help with your speech.
Dope.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get teased about that?
No. Surprisingly, I didn't in elementary school. And that was weird because I used to try to read a lot. And no one ever teased me.
Anybody ever tease you about anything?
Being light-skinned and overweight. I was a chunky, light-skinned kid with bumps on my face. I used to get teased about that a lot.
So what would you do about it? Like fight or?
No. I was non-confrontational. I did not fight at all. So what I did was I started to use my words. So I started to roast back. My roasts were extremely bland. They had no seasoning at all for the longest. I wasn't funny at all, but I tried my best.
Okay, so what about these fights that you did that you weren't a part of, but you witnessed there? Was there some fight in elementary school that you
Yeah,
witnessed?
yes, I did witness a fight in elementary school. It was between two boys. And that little boy, one of the little boys right now is probably a homosexual gangster. So this one little boy, it was two boys. One of them knocked out the other one. The other one just so happened to fall on his stomach. Uh, and the other little boy walked up and put his hand in the crack of that other boy's little butt.
What?
For what reason, I don't know. He did like that in his butt. He did like that in his butt. It was pretty. Back then, I was a kid, so I didn't pay it any attention. I'm just like, oh, that's kind of different. That's different that he did that to him because I would never think to put my hand in the middle of another boy's butt crack and do like that to it. But that's how he was feeling that day, and he made it happen.
Jeez, okay, wow.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, okay, growing up, like, did you grow up with mom and dad in the household?
I
Or?
grew up with mom and dad. Yeah.
Okay.
My mom, she was your traditional housewife, lovely woman, can cook. She's amazing. Great attitude. She has a soothing voice, and everybody loves her. My father, he was a plant guy. He worked at Chrysler, JNAP to be exact, and he worked a whole lot. Good guy too.
Okay. Okay, so when you went to middle school, how was that? You know, I'm seeing that you moved in with pops and.
Middle school is great. I moved in with my father, and I went to Barber Magnet. Middle school was cool. That's when I got my first taste of girls.
What was
Uh,
that like?
it was amazing. It was one little girl. It was one girl in my class. We humped on each other after school every day. We basically had our tongues down each other's throats every single day. Like I looked forward to it. I don't think I thought about it so much. I probably didn't get any work done.
What grade was that?
Probably sixth grade.
Okay. So you was, this would be like the highlight of your day, like.
That was the highlight of my whole day. I actually came to school just for that reason.
That was my thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Wow. Did your mom or dad ever find out about it?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
And who did you talk to? Like who did you confide in at that age? Like who was like your best friend? Did you have a best friend? Or
At
anybody?
that age, it wasn't my parents for sure. Off the top, probably younger kids in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
How were your grades like? Were you able to get any schoolwork done between all that kissing?
Nah, my grades were pretty horrible. They were consistently horrible throughout my academic career. Yeah, maybe in elementary school my grades were good, but middle school and up, I did enough just to get by.
Okay, so you get out of middle school and you head into high school, ninth grade. Where you going? Where'd you go to?
So ninth grade, I moved back in with my mother, and I went to Osborne.
Okay.
Osborne, I was a very sheltered kid. I didn't know anything about gangs. I didn't know anything about violence or drugs. And in Osborne, they had all of these things. Yeah, these were some little tormented, trauma-ridden children. There was a lot of gang activity there.
So who's wow? So who's Will and Dave?
Will and Dave. Will and Dave are childhood friends. We grew up on a street called Row. As soon as we met each other, Will and Dave are brothers. As soon as we met each other, we instantly clicked, and we were tight from then on out. And then ninth grade is when I first started skipping school
with Will and Day.
with Will and Dave.
All right, all right. And so at Osborne, I'm seeing that. What is it about the weed? The stolen weed?
Oh, Osborne. So my father, he actually grew some Reggies in his backyard. So I would, once he was finished with it, I would steal it, and I would take it to school and sell it to kids who didn't know any better, just like me. And my mother, while I'm at school, I didn't know she used to snoop a whole lot. So she just so happened to go in my closet and find my stash of weed. Now, when she found it, she didn't know what it was. So as soon as I came home from school, she presented this to me. She walked up to me and she said, Jermaine, I don't know who did this, but somebody took grass from our front yard and put it in a bag. I said, Mother, I don't know who would do such a thing, but let me take that from you and throw it away. And as soon as she was handing it to me, her boyfriend walked in at the time. He was a retired pimp slash dope dealer, and he busted me out to my mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you all get along? Like, did you and him get along? Or?
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's still around. They got married.
Sweet.
Very cool guy.
Okay, so then you got your driver's license while at Osborne?
I got my driver's license while I was in Osborne.
Which driving school did you go to?
I went to Sears.
Okay.
I went to Sears and I took my driver's my test. I think where everybody from Detroit took theirs from. The spot off of 94 and Cashew. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's where I took my driver's test.
Wow.
Something very hilarious happened too.
What was that?
While the last day of driver's training, it was a kid in our class, and he used to pick on this one other kid. Now, the guy who did the picking, he was taller than everybody. The guy who got picked on was a short dude. So the last day, we knew the short guy wasn't passing. He was failing tremendously. Everybody knew he wasn't passing. But for some reason, he showed up. No one, so everybody's looking like, why is he here? He possibly can't pass. What would be his reason to be here? We're all naive at the time, but that kid had a plan, and his plan was to sock the shit out of the kid that was picking on him. So look, so as soon as this kid got out the car, my man started picking on him. What you doing? You ain't passing. My man jumped in the air and socked him in his face, and the other guy ran. This is some hilarious shit.
And this is at the driving school.
This is at the driver's school.
This was at the one on 94 Casual or C?
No, this was at Osborne.
Oh, you took
this was back in the day. I'm a little older. This is when Osborne had a driver's training class as well. Yeah.
Okay, so it's saying a few kids died in the neighborhood. What was that like?
A few kids, like I said, I was sheltered, but other kids, they were kind of exposed to all of the bad things of the neighborhood very early on. So it was a couple of guys I was friends with, and they took the wrong path basically.
Okay, so you left Osborne.
Yep.
And decided to go to King. Like, why? What brought about that change?
My mother was too strict. I just wasn't feeling it. So I moved back in with my father. And I went to King from 10th to 12th grade.
So being with Dad, it was like, Like, did you walk to school or?
Being with my father, being with my father was was kind of like um was kind of it was a lot of freedom that came with it. Living with my dad, he was kind of a hands-off kind of parent, and he really didn't care about my grades. I lived probably about 4 blocks away from King, but my father was actually so lazy at the time to where he used to give me the keys to his Corvette, and he used to tell me to drive myself to school, and I did. Most times I didn't drive to school, but I took his car.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, if you were skipping at Osborne, I'm sure you were skipping at King with
Yeah, I
Corvette.
definitely started skipping at King. Yeah.
What would you do? Where would you go?
Belle Isle.
Yeah.
That was my spot, and I used to just skip school to smoke weed.
And then okay, so what was that like? Like, cause that was around what, like 96, 97?
Yeah, yeah.
How did the students respond to you driving a Corvette?
Uh, it was different emotions
Yeah.
that took place. Some people were impressed. Some people were jealous, including students and staff.
Yeah. What about the females? Did you get a lot of action from it?
I could have got a lot of action, but I was a naive teenager. Like a woman would damn near have to tell me she wanted to have sex in order for me to know she was interested in me. Seriously. I would not pick up on the signs, the subtle signs that some women throw. And no, I didn't capitalize off of driving a vet to school. I did not capitalize off of that.
So okay, so I'm sure there came a lot of jealousy, and were there any fights that came from the vet, or just period? Or
It was
just
no,
you?
it wasn't any fights that had anything to do with me that came from driving the Corvette. No, it was a lot of jealousy, but no fights.
Any fights, period, with friends or?
Yeah. So the people that know me, they're about to know the name that I'm about to throw out there. So I was always a cool guy. I got along with damn near everybody, honestly. But I had friends that had a problem getting along with people. One of those friends was Tony Bethune. He actually he used to get into it with guys, and I never really understood why he would. So one of the guys was from the King homes, right? Little dude, little scrawny guy. He never would tell me why they got into it. But later on, it comes out that the kid he was getting into it with is a part of the LGBT community. So I don't know if it could have been a lover's quarrel or what. If it was a lover's quarrel, if I had knew that, I would have stayed out of it.
Okay, and so did you work while you was in high school? Or?
Yeah, I worked at Hollywood Video. One of the best jobs I ever had in my life. Very profitable. Hollywood Video, I don't think they're around anymore.
No.
But they were popular back then. And that was like my first real job, I guess I would say.
Why was it so profitable?
I stole.
Okay.
So Hollywood Video, I think I was there for about 7 months to a year, and in those 7 months to a year, um, I learned everything. I learned the exact totals of everything. A customer could bring up their items to the counter, and I had the total in my head. So after a while, Hollywood Video didn't know this, but I became a silent partner in their business. So Hollywood Video would get a sale, and I would get a sale. So as long as you have a manager's code, You can punch it in the register and it pops. So once I started doing that, I pretty much started profiting a lot of money.
Okay, so I'm seeing this entrepreneurship class that you were involved with, and was that in high school as well?
Yeah, I took a couple entrepreneurship classes. One was at King. One was at King. Um, by Miss Thompson. If anybody that knows me that was in this class, they know Miss Thompson. She is a sweet woman. That was my very first introduction to entrepreneurship. So in this class, they appointed people positions. I just so happened to be the treasurer of the class's money. We pitched in some money of our own and we started raising our own money. So I had this idea, if I bought crack and flipped it, then I could make us more money. And that's actually exactly what I did.
So what did you know about crack at that age?
I didn't know anything about it. I just had friends that started dibbling dabbling in the trade.
Okay, and so did you go buy you went and bought some crack from
I went and bought crack.
and flip did you flip the
I went and
entrepreneurship
bought
money?
crack. See, this is the thing. This is what I learned about entrepreneurship. When you buy certain products, it could get slow. So the crack, I don't think it was that good because it moved slow. So I ended up having to get a loan from a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was Carlos Willis. I got a loan from a friend. He handed me $500. I was I was kind of depressed. I'm like, this crack ain't moving like I thought it was. I'm just holding on to it. So I just stopped Los. We were in the hallway. I said, Los, bro, I need $500. Los came out of his pocket fast as hell and handed me the $500. Shout out to Carlos, by the way.
Okay, and so were you ever successful in high school with selling crack, or was
Uh,
that for
I
after?
was I was lightweight, man. I was in and out, to be honest with you. I wasn't that deep into it in high school.
Okay.
No, I wasn't successful at selling crack.
Did you go to prom or graduate from
I
high
went
school?
to prom
Okay.
by myself. I was supposed to go with a date. No, I was supposed to go with a date. I was petty back then.
What?
I was supposed to go with my then girlfriend. But we ended up getting into an argument about the color that she wanted me to wear.
What color was it? What she wants you to wear?
I don't, you know, the color of the cars that flip the different colors. They're like a million different colors, like a chameleon type of paint.
Okay.
That would be similar to the type of
And
suit.
you didn't want that.
No,
Right. What color did you want?
I wore tan.
Okay.
I wore tan and chocolate.
So what she said, since we can't do the chameleon thing, I'm not going.
Yeah, back in the day, I don't know if I was the one that said kick rocks or she told me kick rocks. But one of us said kick rocks.
So how did it feel going to prom by yourself? Did you have a good time or?
I had an amazing time. I ended up getting a room downtown and my then girlfriend, I guess she was my ex because we broke up, she ended up taking another dude. And then we seen each other at the prom and she ended up dropping him back off and we had sex that whole weekend.
Oh, so everything worked out.
Yeah, everything worked out for the best.
Okay, so after high school, what happens? Is it college or straight into the workforce?
I wish I jumped straight into college after high school. After high school is when I started selling drugs full time. Me and a old friend of mine, uh, we actually got together as business partners in this venture, and me and him started doing our thing full time.
Okay, so after school, you say you and a friend.
We started selling crack full time.
So what made you want to get into the game?
Um, what made me get into it was seeing the easy money being made. So before I ever started selling anything, I used to go around them while they were selling it. And I was just amazed by how fast they could make money. And I was always intrigued by that. And that's what ultimately got me involved in it.
So what happened with the car chase? 70 West car chase.
Who? So, downtown is where we hustled. It was a roller coaster down there. We had our good times and we had our bad times. One time I can think of, I was sitting in front of an apartment building. It's a luxury condo now, but it was a apartment building for lower income people. It was called 70 West.
So you're in front of 70 West.
Yep, I was parked in front of 70 West and Cutlass, and I was rolling up some weed with one of my homies. He was in the passenger seat. So I had just got this green rolling tray from Target. I'm sitting there. I got my head down now, and I'm sitting here, and I'm rolling up my weed. I just so happened to look up and look to my right, and it's an all black Ray van uh, parked right there in the middle of the street. And everybody in this black van has their eyes on me, and they all are dressed like ninjas. So at this moment, I had probably a large sack on me. So the best thing I could do was put the car in drive and put the pedal to the floor.
So okay, so what happened? You smashed out. Then what?
I smashed out. This is the messed up part. I had a messed up carburetor or something. So while I'm trying to mash, it's steadily burping like it's not getting any traction or nothing. I'm sitting here sick, right? Like, so I ended up getting some motion, and I ended up getting on the freeway, right?
Was
Look,
the lodge?
I got on the lodge, got on the freeway. I looked behind me. They were still trying to chase me, kept going. They gave up, right? So I thought. So I go home because now I can't go back to the block. It's a rain van down there. So I go home. Soon as I hit the block, it's a rain van right there. So I said, damn.
Yes, they didn't know where you live at.
They gotta know where I live at. The jig is up. So I mash out again. Because I still have some on me. So I hit a couple of corners and I throw whatever I had out and I go back to the block, to my home. But guess what? This was a totally different raid van and they were raiding another home.
Wow.
Yeah, so at this point I'm relieved. I said, fuck. That's a relief. But then I thought, fuck, I just threw this large sack of crack out of my window. Where is it? I don't know how I did it, bro. If I had like a crack detector in my mind or something, but I bent the right corners and I found it and I picked it up and we mashed back out.
Wow.
Yep.
So what about Moan and E?
Oh, Moan and E were the OGs of the neighborhood. They were the guys that actually showed us the ropes. Cool guys. I still know them. Pretty cool guys.
And the None of Your Business clothing store. What was that about?
Oh, okay. So I went through. You go through levels of finding plugs when you're doing illegal business. So you might have your first plug. They're kind of horrible, and you kind of work your way up. So this particular guy, I just went in his clothing store to buy some clothes. He was in the neighborhood I hustled in, so I said, let me go in here and see what they got. So I go in there and I buy a few outfits, and I hand him my money. Once I handed him the money, he said, "You like to make money, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." Then he was like, "Let me show you something." He took me in the back of his clothing store and showed me a bunch of cocaine. And that became my plug. And I asked him after that what made him deal with me, like what made him
Right.
do that.
Trust you like that.
Yep. He told me my money smelled like weed. That was what he came up with, and that's why he dealt with me. And he was a cool guy until he wasn't anymore. People get jealous.
Really?
Yeah, E40, a great philosopher, by the way, he once said, "Never outshine the master." So, with that being said, once your plug thinks you're doing better than them, they don't like it.
And that also came from Robert Greene in the 48 Laws of Power.
Ah, yeah, yeah, it's true.
Okay, so how was it hustling down there though? I mean, like I'm here. There was a Project Beef.
Down there, it was fun until it wasn't. So with the guys downtown, everything was cool because they didn't think our block made any money. So I ended up buying Cadillac. I bought a Cadillac and I put Vogues on it.
Yeah, SDF, right?
SLF.
SLF.
And as soon as they saw my car, their antennas raised up, and it was instant drama after that.
So what'd you do? You stick around?
No, it was too hot. It was a lot going on at that time. It was a lot going on. Nobody could hustle down there. So what I did was I took my show on the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you take it?
We went to a small town in Ohio. A very small town in Ohio.
Okay, so how'd you set up shop down there? Like, what was the game plan?
The game plan is to basically take these people's customers away from them. So back then, I don't know how it is now. When you're dealing with smaller towns, they aren't any competition because coming from a larger city, you have a better quality and you have the best price. So the dealers became our customers as well as their customers.
Did it ever get hot down there?
It got extremely hot, mainly because of the people that we were bringing down there.
Who was that?
One guy, he was a total dickhead. I can't think of his name, but he ended up, I think he stole something from Attic. He stole something from him, and all they wanted was their stuff back, but he wouldn't give it to them. And the Addict ended up going to the police.
So, what about with the police? Were there any issues? Did they?
Yeah, so I don't know if this was a friendly reminder or something like that, but it was one time in particular. I was in front of a barber shop down there, and a cop car rolled up on me, and the dude he got out of his squad car, and he walked up to me and said, "I'm watching you," and then he got back in his car and rolled off, and that was probably my last time in this small town.
So you took off for Detroit after that? Eh?
Yeah, I took off. It was more to it too than just drama from the cops. It was the Ohio boys. Some of them were jealous. They were plotting robberies and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got your like belly Regos.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, pretty much, man. But back then I seen them coming a mile away. But it was getting real hot, and the guys I went down there with, It wasn't any type of unity or people. We weren't all bringing our bread together. It was just kind of like me. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you get back to Detroit,
yeah.
and you doing your thing, and then Pops needs to go to the hospital one day. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I came back to the city. I was doing my thing, and my father he has certain issues with his leg, so I take him down to the VA hospital. This particular time, I dropped him off at the hospital, and I said I haven't been on the block in a while. Let me bend the block, where I used to hustle at, and see if I see some familiar faces. So I go down there and I do see a familiar face. It's a guy that I had known that I had hustled with. We laughed together, hustled together. It's a cool dude, so I thought. And we exchanged numbers and all of that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so whatever came from that, did you all ever link up?
So
Or?
we actually did. Unfortunately, we did link up. Um, he called me for something very small, maybe like $1,000 worth. Um, and I ended up taking it to him.
It's coke?
Crack.
Oh,
It was crack.
Okay.
It was crack. It was already rocked up.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking it to him, and he kept acting funny. He kept wanting to go to different areas to do the deal. So back then, I was off of ecstasy, a lot of ecstasy, and alcohol. So my the clarity wasn't there.
Yeah.
My discernment was gone. So if I would have been the same me that I am now, I would have saw it coming. But he kept having problems with the area we were in, and we ended up going to the McDonald's on Woodward, and we decided to do the deal in the bathroom. We went in the bathroom. He acting funny and shit. So I said, "Fuck it, man, let's go." So he got back in my truck, and he just upped his pistol on me, and
what do you do? I know you like what the fuck.
he had the ups on me. I couldn't do anything. So he ended up telling me it was an alley right there that's attached to the McDonald's. I think they closed it off now, but he had me go down this particular alley, and while he's holding the gun up, he's holding it to my chest, and all of a sudden the gun goes off. And yeah, and he had a look of surprise on his face, like he didn't, like that wasn't his intentions, but it was done now. So he got what he wanted, and what I didn't realize, he snatched the keys out of my car, and he got out of my car and ran. So after he ran, I get out of the car. If anybody, my Detroiters, if you're familiar with the McDonald's on Woodward, you know that receiving is in walking distance of it. So I started to try to walk to receiving. As soon as I took my first few steps, it was like all of the air left my body. So I said, okay, I can't do that. So I stand in the middle of Woodward, and I'm trying to flag down cars, and nobody will stop. Finally, this cop car stopped. It was two black guys. They told me that they couldn't put me in their car because I was bleeding. At this particular time, you couldn't see any blood visibly on me. So they said that they couldn't put me in their car. So while they were stopped, another squad car pulled up. It was some cornbread fed country white guys, and they hopped out of their car. They figured out what was going on. They snatched me up. They put me in their squad car, and they took me to receiving.
Wow. So wait, before that though, I remember you telling me that there was a homeless lady, almost like an angel of darkness that tells.
Oh yeah. So before I start waving people off, trying to wave people down and to stop in traffic, it was a homeless lady. She just came out of nowhere, and she actually told me just to sit on the curb. I don't know how that would have helped fix anything. She didn't have a cell phone or anything, but She just told me to sit on the curb because the same thing happened to her son. And that's what he did. So at this point, I'm figuring this was the fucking devil. And I didn't listen to anything she said.
Okay, so fast forward, the cops get you to the hospital,
Yes.
and I'm sure they rush you to, to the table for surgery.
Yes.
After surgery, I mean, just all this going on, and just I know it's a million things running through your head.
Yeah.
It's like, is this enough to get out the game?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't. I actually sold dope in the hospital.